So in today's video, we're going to talk specifically about CBT, or let me say the test of competencies, which is in relation to the UK NMC's registration. So if you're a nurse or midwife from outside the UK and then you're looking out for information on this, then this video is going to detail everything you need to know so that possibly you know how to go about it, from the number of questions to answer, how much you have to pay, how to book for the test and stuff. So just stay tuned and then let's look at that. Alright, so welcome back to my channel. I want to say that I thank you very much for always being a supporter of this channel. It's because of it that I've come this far. My name is Estak Mwajima. You can call me Kobe. And if today is your first time here, please don't forget to hit the subscribe button and become part of the family. So that anytime I upload a new video, you quickly get to watch. So this teaching is going to be practical. So as you can see on the board, I'm going to be teaching you in a practical way. Okay, so let's say this gentleman is an international nurse, okay, from Ghana, and wants to register with the UK NMC. Now, there are some series of processes you have to go through to even get to the point of writing the test of competencies. You've got to make sure that in your home country, this person is a registered nurse. So what this means is that he has a PIN with the home country NMC. So let's say a PIN with the Ghana NMC. So if you are from Nigeria, you make sure that you have a PIN with the Nigerian NMC. If you are from Zimbabwe, wherever you are from, Philippines, wherever, make sure that you're already a registered nurse in your home country. Okay, that is the first ticket for you to be able to register with the UK NMC. Now, once you meet that criteria, you've got to probably start with your UK NMC application. But before you start with the application, there are a couple of tasks you need to get into place. Let me just state it this way. The UK NMC application comes in two parts. Okay, you have the part 1 and then the part 2. The part 1 has to do with what we call verification or eligibility, and then the part 2 is much more of the application. What does each one of these mean? It means that once you go to the UK NMC to say you want to join their register, they would want to find out if you're eligible to work in the UK. Okay, there are a couple of things they may be looking out for. So they'll go back to your home country's NMC and then make some checks on you to make sure that you are fit to practice in the UK. And once they are through with the checks, they will send you a message to say you are eligible or you have been authorized to sit for what we call the test of competence. Okay, the test of competence. And the short form is TOC. The email you receive is called a decision letter. It means that the UK NMC has made a decision on you. This authorizes you to go ahead to sit for the test of competence. Now, there are two tests of competence. We have the CBT, which is computer-based test, and we have OSCE, which is objective structural clinical examination. Alright, so these are the two tests of competencies. And as I said, once you get a decision letter, then you are fit to go through this process. So you can either start with the CBT or the OSCE, whichever one you think befits you. So this is where you submit your nursing qualification, you submit a valid passport to check your identity and stuff. Once the eligibility check has been done on you and the UK NMC is sure that you can go ahead with your application, you'll be asked to go to the second phase of your NMC registration, where it starts with possibly uploading an English language evidence and all those stuff. So I'll talk about this extensively in a separate video, but today we're just talking about the test of competency, which is the CBT. Okay, I want you to know that the second part of the UK NMC registration costs £153. Okay, yeah. So right after going through the first phase, the UK NMC, as I said, sends you a decision letter telling you to sit for the CBT and then the OSCE. Now, in most instances, the UK NMC will send your details to a company called Pearson Vu. Okay, let's write that on here. Pearson Vu. So this company happens to be the test provider for CBT. The test provider for CBT. So they will create an account for you, which includes your username and then the password. And then the UKNMC will include its details in the email. So all you've got to do is to go to the Person's website and then you can log in to book for your CBT test. I've made a complete video about how to book the CBT test. Okay, so I'll leave the link in the description box so that you can have access to it. Now, let's say you are ready to book for your CBT test. Now, the question is, what at all is CBT? How many questions are you to answer? And how long is it going to take? How much are you to pay? How many parts has the CBT? All those stuff you're going to look at here. So stay tuned. In simple terms, when we talk about the CBT, as I explained, this computer-based test. So it happens to be the first part of the test of competence. So the first part of the test of competence, let's represent that as TOC. And another thing you have to note about the CBT is that this happens to be the theory session to demonstrate your skills, to demonstrate your nursing skills or midwifery skills. So this is going to be purely multiple choice questions. And I was looking at the statistics of the number of people who do pass on the first attempt, probably with both parts. As of 2024, about 83% have passed all parts. And I think 2023, there was 85%. So you could see that about 20% or 15% of people fail CBT. This to encourage you to put out your best so that another day you can also come out with flying colors. Now, before we start talking about the nitty-gritties of it, let's look at how much you have to pay if you want to write your CBT. Okay, so according to the UKNMC, you got to be paying an amount of £83. So you can do this conversion in your home currency to see how much you'll be paying for that. That is when you are sitting for both parts. So I made mention the fact that the CBT comes in two parts. What are they? Let's talk about them and then you look at as to whether you've got to sit for all the parts if you fail in one, or you can sit for an individual part you failed in. So now this is the CBT. Okay, as I said, it comes in two parts. So we have part A and then we have part B. Part A here consists of numeracy. So as the name implies, numbers. It's much more of calculation, drug calculation, because as a nurse or midwife, probably you'll be giving medications and then you've got to be able to calculate what dose or dosage you've got to give to your patient. And part B is what we call clinical. So here you are going to get some multiple choice questions about nursing, about midwifery, about whichever category you find yourself. Okay, so yeah, you look at the various categories of fields that can write CBT, and then you get to know whether you fit in. If you want to write both, then you are paying for £83, as I said. But let's say you failed in part A or part B, then what happens here is that you are just going to sit for that part. So let's say you failed in part A, which is numeracy, you only sit for that. Or you failed in part B, which is clinical, you only sit for that. You don't have to sit for all the two. So in this case, if you are sitting for one part of the CBT, you are not going to pay £83. Each part has got an amount that needs to be paid. So let's look at that. If you are sitting for only part A, then you are paying £50. So you can do the conversion in home currency. And if you are sitting for only part B, you pay £70. Now the question you will be asking is that how many questions do you have to answer in the part A and how many questions do you have to answer under the part B? So what the UKNMC has said is that you've got to answer just 15 questions in the part A, and then you have 100 questions to answer in the part B. So all you know, you are having a total number of questions 115. You've got to answer 115 questions. So you start with the part A first, and once you are done, you continue with the part B. So the very question you'll be asking is that how many minutes do you have to use for the part A? You've got 15 questions. Okay, we are going to use 30 minutes to finish that. And as I said, there's much more of drag calculations, so you've got to make sure that you're getting all of them correct. Now the part B, you've got to use 2 hours and 30 minutes to finish that. So you've got enough time to do that. Yeah, so we're going to talk about the different fields or the different CBT models you can select. According to the UK NMC, you've got different CBT types, and you've got to make sure that you're choosing the right one. We have the one for adult nursing. Okay, so when you go on the Personful site, you see adult nurse with RNA. Okay, so if you're a general nurse, probably you've got to go for this option. We have mental health nurse, and that is symbolized by RNMH. We have learning disability, that is symbolized by RNLD. We also have children's nurse, that is symbolized by RNC. We have midwife, that is symbolized by RM. So it's up to you to deduce which field you want, and then you choose as such. So one thing I also want to say is that when you write both CBT and you pass, you go to the UK NMC's dashboard and you only see pass. And if you failed, you only see fail. They will not specify the marks you had for each one of these. It's just pass or fail. But let's say you did perform well in the part A, but failed in part B. What will be the results? It will still show fail. So until you sit for that part, probably you'll be seeing fail. Okay, so that's something you have to take into consideration. Now let's go and look at a similar example of how the CBT questions look like, so that at least that helps you to prepare. Okay, so we're going to start with the numeracy. Let's see how it goes. So where I am now is a person whose website, they've got some practice tests you can jump onto to see how the CBT feels like. Okay, now you could see that I've got different CBT types as I explained earlier. We got that for the midwife. So if you're a midwife, you can see how the clinical looks like and how the numeracy looks like as well. And then if you're a nursing associate, you've got that a couple of samples you can look at. And if you're an adult nurse, yeah, we're going to look at one adult nurse CBT. So let's click on the numeracy and then see how it is structured. So I'll leave the link in the description box. If you want to jump onto this website, you can look at that. We're going to go through a couple of instructions. Remember, the numeracy is not just about you getting your calculations right, but the units you add as well as how you write them matters. Okay, if you get the answer correct, let's say the answer is 15, but you add the wrong unit, it's wrong. You've got to make sure that you're getting 15 out of 15. There are a couple of things here that I would want us to be looking at. You can see that there are a couple of instructions you've got to be looking at. This is the numeracy, as you can see on here. Okay, the part A, numeracy. And it says that this is a practice test, so take notice of that. The practice test contains 15 questions. As we said, the numeracy contains 15 questions. And it says use it to become familiar with the various features of the CBT, the style of the questions, the difficulty level of the questions, the format of the questions and answers, the buttons on the screen, the timer and screen count, and then the item review screen. So probably when it's time for you to write your CBT, these are the things you will be seeing. The same structure, something like that, so that at least, yeah, so you can see we have end exams at the bottom left corner. Then we have an option on here that says next. So once you click on here, it takes you to the next column. Numbers. Some questions require you to enter a number with no other text. Okay, this is usually a whole number. but maybe a decimal value. Please follow any instructions about how many decimal places to use. So if an answer has decimal values, they will specify how many decimal places to use. When entering numeric answers, only include significant digits. Do not add extra zeros after the decimal point unless the answer requires them. For example, if the answer is 1.5, okay, and needs to be entered to one decimal place, do not enter 1.50 or 1.500 as this may not be shown as a correct answer. And one thing I want us to look at is the units. It's very, very important. Okay, so it says unit. Some questions require you to enter a number and then a unit. Remember, some questions require you to enter just a number. Others, you just have to add a unit. Always use the standard scientific abbreviation for the unit, such as kg, mg, L, or ml. Look at how the milliliter is written. It's small m, capital L, not small m, small l. Okay, so just keep an eye on that. Do not add an S after the unit. Do not write out the full name of the unit. So these are instructions you've got to keep in mind. Otherwise, even if the number is correct and you attach the wrong unit, you get it wrong. So let's take that again. This should be the correct way of writing mails. Then do not add an S to the unit after the unit, okay? Do not write out the full name of the unit. Do not write out any additional text, such as the name of the medicine. This will cause the item to be marked as incorrect, so take notice of that. So for example, if the correct answer to question is 5 mils, the following responses would be marked incorrect. So let's say you write 5 mils of water. So this will be marked incorrect. 5 milliliters. So you could see that all these are wrong. So this is something you have to keep in mind. So now let's go and look at the raw questions and then how they look like. So at this point, you're going to click on next to see how the questions look like. Okay. I want you to be looking at some very important stuff. There's a timing on here. You could see that the time keeps reading. Okay, you've only got 30 minutes to finish this up. I've got 15 questions to answer, and this happens to be the first question. You've got a calculator on here to use. So this is something you've got to be looking at. And you can flag for review. So let's say you're not sure of the answer, you can just flag it so that at the end of the day, you can come back to it and then deal with it. And then down here is the next option to move to the very next question. Okay, so let's look at the question. It says, what is the volume that has been drawn up into the syringe? Please use the correct unit and write your answer to one decimal place. Now, the correct unit here is ml, small m with capital L. What can you see on here? What is the ml? So if you want to use a calculator, you click on that. But this is just observation and you can look at that. Now, the first calibration on here is 0. Between 0 and 1 is 0.5. Let's look at where the black plunger is. Or look at where the blue draws from and then where it ends. So you can see that it ends at 6.5. I'm going to type in 6.5. You see if we get this correct. And it says please use the correct unit and write your answer to one decimal place. Write your answer to one decimal place. So you can see that it's 6.5. This is one decimal place, okay? And then let's add the unit, which is ml. And then the next question is, what is the volume that has been dispensed? Please use the correct unit. You will see that the unit is in ml as well, the correct volume. So we have 5, 10, 15, 20. So I can say it's 20 mils. It says please use the correct unit. So let's write 20 ml. Now the timing is at 27 minutes. Let's click on next. If you want to go back, you can use this option. And it says that a patient has been prescribed 2 liters of 0.5% sodium chloride. What is the volume in ml? Okay, so now ask yourself, 2 liters. How much is it in mils? So here you've only got to type the number. You don't have to add the unit because the unit has already been added for you. In actual sense, I don't have to calculate this. But if you want to do this, remember 1000 milliliter is equal to 1 liter. Okay, so if 2 liters, then how much will it be in milliliter? So I will say 2000 milliliter equals 2 liters. Now let's click on next. And the patient has been prescribed 0.6 grams of ibuprofen. What is the dose in milligram? So now per calculation, you can deduce that every 1000 milligram is equal to 1 gram. Every 1000 milligram is equal to 1 gram. Okay, so let's work this out. Every 1000 milligram is equal to 1 gram. And then here they are saying that there's a medication that has been prescribed and it's 0.6 grams ibuprofen. Okay, so how much is this in milligram? So the simplest way you can do this is let's put 0.6 grams on here. So if 1 gram has given us 1000 milligram, then how much will be 0.6 grams? So you could see that 1 gram is more than 0.6. So if 1 gram is given us this, then 0.6 will give us something less. So if less, more divide. If less, more divide. Okay, so 0.6 grams divided by 1 gram times 1000 milligram. So this gram will cancel this gram. 0.6 over 1 is 0.6 times 1000. Now you can go back to use the calculator. 0.6 times 1000 is 0.6 times 1000. Let's see the answer. 600 milligram. So you can pop the answer on there. We only just have to type the number because the unit has been given. Okay, so 600 milligram. Now let's move on to the next question. And it says a patient has been prescribed 300 milligram of phenytoin. How many tablets should be administered? Now you can see that this is the box of phenytoin. Okay, and each tablet in there is 100 milligram. So if a patient has been prescribed 300, how many tablets will you give? Is 3, okay, because 3 times 100 is 300. So if you are not sure, you can use the calculator. 3 times 100 is 300. So let's pop that on there. Remember, I'm only writing the number. Sorry, it's 3 tablets. Then let's click on that. Our very next question is, a patient has been prescribed 1 gram of carbocysteine solution. What volume should be administered? Please use the correct unit. Now you can see that I've got 22 minutes more. We are at question 6. We've got like 9 questions more to go. Yeah, none of them has been flagged. Okay, yeah. So carbocysteine consists of 200 milligram per 5 ml. Okay, and the patient has been prescribed 1 gram. So let's go and do the calculation. 200 milligram is equal to 5 ml. 200 milligram is equal to 5 ml of carbocysteine. And then the doctor has prescribed 1 gram. Okay, so what this means is that we've got to make sure that we make the unit the same. Alright, so the question is, how much is 1 gram in milligram? So you will say 1000 milligram is equal to 1 gram. Okay, so in place of this 1 gram, we can put 1000 milligram. So if 200 milligram has given us 5 mils, then how much will 1000 milligram give us? It will give us more. So if more, let's divide. This is more, let's divide times 5. So let's do some cancellations on here. So 2 goes in itself 1 and then goes into 10, 5. So 5 times 5. So you can go and use the calculator. It's 25. But if you are not sure, you can use the calculator. 1 5 is 25. And then here we're going to add the correct units. Small m, capital L. Then let's move on. So you've got 19 minutes more. A patient has been prescribed 100 mg of phenytoin suspension. What volume should be administered? Please use the correct unit. So 250 is equal to 5 mg. So how much will 100 mg give us? We are going to use the same principle to get our answer. 250 mg is equal to 5 mils. And we are looking out for 100 mg. So how much will it give us? So if 250 has given us 5 mils, then 100 mg will give us less. So if less, more divide. So 100 over 250 milligram times 5 mils. Okay, milligram will cancel milligram. 1 0 will cancel 1 0. This 5 will cancel itself 1 and then come on here to say 5. So now we have 10 divided by 5 times mils. So this goes in itself 1 and then so you'll get 2 mils. Yeah, if our calculation is right. So 2 mils. You make sure that you add the correct units. ml capital. Then let's move on to the next. We have a patient who has been prescribed levetiracetam suspension at a dose of 10 mg per kilogram. The patient weighs 70 kg. What volume should be administered? Please use the correct unit. Okay, so let's go on the board and then do the calculation. On the levetiracetam bottle, we have 100 mg is equal to 1 mil or 100 milligram per mil. Okay, and then the patient weighs 70 kg and the strength comes at 10 milligram per kg. Okay, so as you can see on the board, this is the strength of the medication. This is what the patient weighs, and then this is what the doctor has prescribed. So the doctor wants us to give this medication at 10 milligram per kilogram, and here is the case: the patient weighs 70 kilograms. So we're going to work on this first. So if 10 milligram of levetiracetam is equal to 1 kg, then if a patient weighs 70 kg, how many milligram is preferred for him? Okay, so let's look at it this way. If 1 kilogram is getting 10 milligrams, then 70 will get more. So if more, let's divide. So 70 kg divided by 1 kg times 10 milligram. So kilogram cancels kilograms. 70 over 1 is 70. So we have 70 times 10 milligrams. Okay, so you can use your calculator. 70 times 10 is 700 milligrams. So a man weighing 70 kilograms should be given 700 milligrams. So that is something you have to take into consideration. And now let's look at this from this point. Every 100 milligram counts as 1 mil. So if the gentleman weighs 70 kilogram and is to have 700 milligram, then converting this into mils is 7 mils. Okay, let me know if this is understandable. What volume should be administered? Now volume means it should come in mil. So we are going to administer 7 m. So let's give space M with capital L. Then let's move on. We've only got 12 minutes more to go. And then a patient that's been prescribed 60 mg of upentizole decanate. What volume should be drawn out for the injection? Please use the correct unit. So it says this medication comes in 20 mg in 1 mil. 20 mg in 1 mil, and we have to give 60 mg. So how much should be drawn? Let's see. So the patient needs 60 milligram of the medication, okay? And the strength of the medication is 60 milligram is equal to 1 ml. Alright, so let's put the 60 milligram down here. If 20 milligram is giving us 1 ml, then how much will 60 milligram give us? It will give us more. So if more, let's divide 60 milligram over 20 milligram times 1 ml. So milligram cancels milligram, 0 cancels 0, 2 cancels itself once, and then goes into 6 3 times. 3 times 1, 3 times 1 ml is equal to 3 mils. Remember, even though it's 3 mils, you don't add S. Take notice of that. Let's pop our answer on the 3 small m capital L, and then let's move on. Our very next question here, we've got 10 minutes more to go and we are on our 10th question. I'll demonstrate how to flag for review, okay, but I'll use the last question. A patient has been prescribed 4 mg of diamorphine hydrochloride. What volume should be drawn up for the injection? Please use the correct unit and write your answers in to 1 decimal place. So diamorphine comes in 5 mg in 1 ml, and then we need 4 mg. So let's go and look at that. So diamorphine comes in 5 mg in 1 ml, and then we need 4 mg. Okay, so if 5 mg is giving us 1 ml, then how much will 4 mg give us? Will it give us less or more? It will give us less. So if less, more, divide. This principle has worked for me every now and then. Okay, so milligram cancels milligram. 4 cannot go into 5, 5 cannot go into 4. So now we have 4 over 5 times 1 ml. Okay, so let's go and use our calculator. 4 times 1 is 4 over 5 ml. So 4 over 5 mils. Let's go and use our calculator. Okay, so you have a calculator on here. 4 divided by 5. 4 divided by 5. The answer is 0.8. So make sure you are leaving your answer in 1 decimal place and then the unit. So 0.8 mils, small m, capital L. And then you can close this and continue. The very next question we've got is, a patient has been prescribed pethidine hydrochloride at a dose of 0.5 mg per kilogram. Your patient weighs 90 kg. What volume should be drawn up? So let's see. So let's go to the board and work that one out. You could see that the numeracy is not difficult. I don't know how you are seeing it, but probably if you have been doing drug administration and stuff, this shouldn't be difficult for you. But whatever it is, just give me a thumbs up if you find it difficult, and then I would consistently make videos about this to help you out, okay? So now let's look at the strength of the medication. It's 0.5 milligram per. Sorry, this happens to be the prescription, okay, what the doctor has prescribed. Then the strength of the medication is 50 milligram per ml, and then the patient weighs 90 kg. So you've got to work out the milligram as per this parameter. So what we can say is that if 0.5 milligram is equal to 1 kilogram, then how much will 90 kilogram give us? A man weighing 1 kilogram should be given 0.5 milligram. So if another man weighs 90 kilograms, how much? So what this is that this person will have more dose than that. So if more, let's divide. So 90 divided by 1 times 0.5. So here we've got to use our calculator. 90 times 0.5. Let's go and use the calculator. 90 times 0.5. Our answer is 45. So you've got 45 milligram. Now remember, we have the dosage. 50 milligram is equal to 1 ml. So if 50 milligram is equal to 1 ml, then how much will 45 give us? They ask us, so 50 and then 45, which one is more? 50 is more than 45. So we say 45 is less. If less, more, divide. 45, 50 times 1. So you go and use our calculator. 45 divided by 50. Say 45 divided by 50. We have 0.9. So you just pop that on the 0.9 ml. And then you move on to the next. You've got 5 minutes more to go. So at what rate would you set the infusion pump to run? So you could see that we have the IV route, infusion fluid, that 40 mils, that you have duration to be 5 hours, and then the time starts at 8 o'clock. So at what rate would you set the infusion rate? So what we can do on here is let's divide 5 by 4. Okay, for the sake of time, I'm just going to do this quickly, and then let's see. So let's see 400 divided by 5. So we should have 80 mils per hour. Let's do that and see if it works. Then let's move on to the next. Yeah, we're going to go through the same procedure, and then let's see. So we've got 3 minutes more. 1000 divided by 6. So you have 1.66. Give your answer to the nearest whole number. So 167. So 167. Then let's move on. And it says, at what rate would you set this? 800. Okay, so let's see. So you can see that this is much more of infusion rate and stuff. 800 divided by 5. 160. So let's pop that on there. Okay, so you've got to be very fast, otherwise you'll be caught up with time. And then I've got this question. Fluid balance. Okay, so if you're not familiar with this, I think I've got to make a video about this, but just give a thumbs up and let me know. It says complete the following fluid balance to calculate if the patient has gained or lost fluid. Okay, so if the patient has gained fluid, you should include plus before you balance answer. So for example, plus 100. If the patient has lost fluid, so you have the negative balance and then the positive balance. Okay, so let's see. So we've got just 1 minute to do this. Let me put the calculator on the side. So now this happens to be the input. So we're going to add all these together. So let's say 100 plus 100 plus 150 plus. So you've got to be very careful. You type the right stuff. Plus 125. So plus, I'll say 500 plus 500 plus 250 plus, we've got 12550. Then you go and add the outputs as well. So let me just clear the board. You've got 53 seconds. 140 plus 1 plus 180 plus 80 plus 200 plus 310. I'm rushing to do this. So now you're going to subtract 1250. Oh, what was the answer? I didn't write it down. Minus 900. I don't know. So I'll say 350. You say minus, is it 350? I'm not too sure. No, this is a positive. No, so you see that it's gone. Okay, so that's the end of the exams. So this had to go through the CBT exams. That happens to be an example of the numeracy, which is the part A. So yeah, next time I'll be looking at the part B and see how it also looks like. Maybe this video has been very helpful to you. I believe that there are others out there who are also seeking to have this information as well. So don't forget to subscribe, don't forget to share, don't forget to like. Thank you very much. Hope to see you in my next video. Every link you need has been left in the description box. Bye.